Michael, I'm curious whether or not you see this as evolutionary or revolutionary on Walmart's part.
I would say evolutionary. It's really just the next step, the next salvo, if you will, in the grocery wars. To me, it's another example, though, of the benefit of the omni-channel model, where Walmart can use their stores as distribution centers and be that much closer to the customer, and it makes it easier for them to implement this kind of service. But it's really just the next step in these grocery wars, which have been going on for the last couple of years.
What do you think their longer-term aspirations are in terms of maybe driver count or homes within the radius, and how much is material to the stock?
Well, I think over time it's something that could roll out throughout the country. I think they'll take it slow to get there, but that would, obviously significantly increase from the 30 million that they talked about today. That they do take things slow and test them and make sure they work, and then they roll them out. As it relates to the stock in the short term, we don't see it as overly material, but from a bigger picture standpoint, I think it is indicative of Walmart doing the right things, in my opinion, going after that online customer and really trying to increase their value-add services to fight back against some of the online-only models that started to take share, way back when, over the last couple of years. Walmart and Target and the likes have been using their omni-channel assets to really fight back, and I think this is just another step in that.
So, Michael, what does this do to margins for Walmart? I mean, you see this doubling down in delivery, and by the way, not just Walmart, but some of the other more traditional brick and mortars that continue to make investments in this space, too. I mean, we know the focus that investors have been placing on those spreads. What does this do to that thesis going forward?
Well, so remember that this is a service that customers will pay for. So there is that helps mitigate some of the margin impact because there is a fee associated with it. But in general, we think the strategy for Walmart is to keep adding these value-added, high-margin services. Think about marketplace. Think about Walmart fulfillment services. Think about their advertising business, and that can help offset some of the margin pressure that we're going to see in the near term from things like fresh food inflation, et cetera, that Walmart is trying to absorb some of that to keep prices lower for their customers.
Michael, just, overall, and watching Walmart through these last few years as they really did transform, certainly into a digital business to a certain extent. I don't want to overplay it. What grade do you give them in terms of how they've executed on what has obviously been a substantial investment for them?
Sure, I think they've done a great job there, and I would give them, if I had to give them a grade, if I were a teacher, I'd say an A-. The minus only because they were late to the game. 10 years ago, however many years ago, a lot of these traditional retailers are sort of in denial about the online opportunity. As Amazon, of course, got bigger, they started to go down the road of omni-channel, and it took a couple of years to sort of really test it out and make sure it worked. But since Walmart, I think, convinced themselves that omni-channel is the way to go, they've been very aggressive about it, and I think they've done a great job there.
Finally, Michael, you watch the stock long enough, you can recall some episodes where the stock kind of freaked out on the heels of investment announcements or an annual meeting. You haven't really seen that with this in this rollout. As you said, it is evolutionary.
Yeah, well, Walmart stock has been pretty flat for about a year. So in that sense, it has underperformed. I think what's happened is now it's become actually a value. It's trading below a market multiple. A year ago, it was probably a little bit expensive. Earnings have grown. The stock hasn't moved. And so we think it's a good value here. We're not seeing much of a reaction on this today, but we think it makes sense to own the stock here, just given the valuation, what we think is a great long-term strategy.
Michael, appreciate it. Michael Baker,
Sure.
D.A. Davidson.